Hello everyone and welcome to our volunteer appreciation cooking class with Chef Ross over here with me. He's such a wonderful guy. He's giving his time to help us tonight really celebrate you and all that you do for Canine Companions. And I also want to welcome all of the volunteers that are from other regions. So we are here at Bogey's Bistro in the Northeast, but we welcome volunteers across all 50 states here to this class in appreciation for all, again, that you do for Canine Companions. And tonight, Chef Ross is going to cook a wonderful yet simple meal because we know how busy you are, and we want you to make sure you still have time for us here at Canine Companions, which we are so thankful for. So I'm going to turn this right over to Chef Ross, and he's going to take it away, and I'll be monitoring the chat.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Tonight we're going to be making a chicken dish, and it's kind of a spin on just an easy weekday meal, something we can do and maybe elevate a Wednesday night meal to something a little more special. So we're going to start with actually some potatoes. So we have our fingerlings, and as you can see, I have pretty much everything set up on my countertop ready to go. This is something called mise en place in restaurants. It's a French term that means everything in its place. So we kind of want to have our ingredients out, everything ready. We really don't want to be prepping or trying to do anything while items are cooking. So we kind of want everything done and prepared before we start playing with knives and fire. So for our potatoes, we're just going to do an herb crusted potato, and we're going to take our fingerlings, and I'm just going to cut however we need in half. If they're extra large, you can cut them into quarters. I'm doing this for the 4 people we have here. Sue, Janine, John behind the camera. So we'll need quite a bunch for us. These potatoes come together quickly. I make them a lot at home. It's a relatively simple thing to do, usually made with just ingredients we have in our pantry anyway. I have some tricolors because I think they look nice. So we have some yellow, there's some red, there's some even purple potatoes to make it look a little more interesting. So just slicing small ones in half, some bigger ones into quarters. I think enough. So I just want to break them up, make sure they're all separated from each other. And from here, we're just going to season them. I have some neutral oil. You can use avocado. I'm using canola. You can use soy. You have options. I would avoid using olive oil. Olive oil burns kind of easily, so we don't really want to roast vegetables with it. We're going to give this a good spray of oil. Coat the potatoes, and we have some dry herbs, and the seasonings are up to you. Today I'll be using just some dry thyme. Lightly cover them. We have rosemary as well, and then also onion powder and garlic powder, and just give them a light dusting. And lastly, salt and pepper. I have mine pre-blended, and just give it a good pinch. And this we can literally just shake in the bowl until things are pretty much covered. If you want to get your hands dirty, go for it. And we can lay these on a sheet pan. I have my oven preheated. If you don't, I would recommend doing that. And we can just set those aside for the time being.
Are we preheating the oven too?
Yes.
What are we preheating?
Oh, 400 for the oven, I'm sorry. 400 for the oven. Nextly, we're just gonna prep some things that we'll use for our sauce that we're gonna make. And we're gonna go to the chicken last, because once we put the chicken on the cutting board, we'd have to clean it and go through it. So we're gonna start with some other things. Here I have a bunch of parsley, and you can just take the end and rip it off, and we're gonna give it a very rough chop, just breaking it down into smaller pieces. We want it kind of small. This parsley is going to end up going in our sauce, so we don't want huge bits of it. Chop, chop, chop. I have a separate container. Bench scrapers, pastry scrapers are great for clearing your cutting boards and getting everything up. And we can just set that to the side. Try to constantly work and keep our station neat and organized and clean. So next, just a head of garlic. If you have pre-diced garlic, pre-chopped garlic, that's all fine. This comes out of a jar, it's good. I'm gonna just take a bunch of cloves. I have 4 or 5 here. And we're just gonna smash them. We don't need to chop them, really to do anything. Just crush them, put your knife down on it firm, and just smack it. These will be going in the pan with our chicken and our sauce as well, just to help it develop a flavor. And again, another container for it. And they're just kind of crushed and smashed. We don't need them diced, we don't need them chopped. Kind of whatever shape and status they're in is fine. Again, to the side. Now we can move on to our chicken. I have 2 kinds of chicken breasts here. One more commonly found in supermarkets, your boneless, skinless chicken breast. It's relatively thick. The other is something a little bit nicer, something you might find in restaurants, something you probably will only find at a butcher shop. It's called an airline chicken breast. This is still your basic chicken breast. The skin has been left on, and the drumette has been left attached as well. Since I'm feeding 4 people, I'll be doing 2 of the airline chicken breasts and 2 of just the boneless, skinless breasts. We want to pat these dry. We don't like any moisture, because when we put it into the pan, it'll cause, along with our oil, it'll cause it to sizzle and splatter. So we want to keep these patted down and dry. All we're going to do for seasoning is just some salt and pepper on these. Sprinkle, we want a generous coating on it. We like to season in stages. We want everything we do to be seasoned. We don't want all the seasoning on the chicken or all the seasoning just in a sauce. In case we taste something by itself, we want everything to be properly seasoned. Those. I'm going to get my pan hot. We're looking for a medium heat on our pans. We never really cook anything on high heat, as it'll burn. What was that?
Nothing.
We don't like to cook on high heat because it will burn. We want medium heat. Technique-wise, and when we're cooking most proteins, we like our pan to be hot first, then we add our oil, and then we will lay our presentation side down for our protein. This is the same if we're cooking a chicken breast, if we're doing a pork chop, if we're doing a piece of salmon. Any of the proteins we're really cooking in a pan and probably finishing in an oven, we will wait for a hot pan and then add the oil, let the oil warm, and then from there we will place our meat. Oil-wise, again, a neutral oil, something with a high smoking point, something like avocado oil, canola oil, a soy canola blend are great options. We typically don't pan fry again with olive oil, as it will tend to burn and turn rancid rather quickly. So we try to avoid that when we can. For me, I'm cooking in stainless steel. The easiest way to test that, if the pan is hot, is to drop water in it. And if it doesn't float around like a ball of mercury, it's not ready. So we will wait a little bit longer. So we want the pan hot. Ooh, they're getting there. Little what? Sorry, not my kitchen. First time cooking here. Does anybody have any questions at the moment? I just need to wait for the pans to get hot. Fine. Anything?
Question, no questions.
No questions. All right, no questions yet.
No questions.
If you do have questions, type them in chat. Sue is over there diligently reading away.
Yeah.
Should turn those on, so.
While we wait, I have, for our sauce, we're gonna start with I have chicken stock. It is unsalted. I prefer unsalted stocks. I prefer unsalted butters because you can always add salt. You can't take stuff away. If you bought salted and you're cooking along, that's fine. We're just don't add salt to the sauce. If you have salted butter, also fine. Just stop adding salt. For our sauce, I'm making this for 4 people, so I will use most of this quart. If you're cooking for just yourself and someone else, we're gonna take about half of this if you're cooking for 2 people. And we're just gonna throw it in a pan. And then you can turn your pan on about medium to high heat. And we are just gonna wait. What we want is that sauce to cook and reduce down. Basically, we're just letting a bunch of the water evaporate, and we're concentrating the flavor of the stock. Stocks are just roasted chicken bones simmered with celery, onions, carrots traditionally, and we just want to concentrate and enhance those flavors. So as that gets warm and as it gets hot and we want to get it down to almost a syrup. So when we run a spatula through it, it should stay almost parted in the pan. We want it relatively thick.
We do have a question.
Yeah.
In the chat. Beth is asking, what's the second pan and then oven temperature again?
So oven temperature is 400. I just have 2 pans because I'm doing 4 pieces of chicken and I don't want to overcrowd the pan. The other reason I have 2 pans is I have 2 different kinds of chicken. So I have the bone-in and then the boneless, and they might cook at different temperatures or they might cook at different times, so I can check them and pull them when needed. But if you're cooking at home and it's just the 2 of you, you could probably just get it done in 1 pan. My stainless steels are oven safe. One of those will go in the oven. The other one I will transfer to a smaller baking tray. So if your pan isn't oven safe, if it's got rubber handles, don't worry, we'll just throw it on a tray and we'll stick it in the oven that way.
We do have another question.
Sure.
That is coming from Lori. What is the difference between chicken broth and chicken stock?
Oh.
Can you use either?
Yes, you can use either. Broth just means there's been...
Repeat the question. I don't think it's going to pick
Oh.
up on the microphone.
So someone asked the difference between chicken broth and chicken stock, and can you use either? Yes, similar answers, yes. The difference is stocks are made with vegetables. They added vegetables of primarily celery, onions, carrots. Sometimes you can find ones that have garlic added or herbs added. Broth is traditionally just the bones that have been simmered. So they'll roast the chicken bones and then just simmer them, and it's nothing else added. You can use either. Slightly different flavor profile. Broths tend to be lighter because they don't have the backing of the vegetables. You can make this same sauce with vegetable stock. You don't have to use chicken. This is a sauce you can do and reduce down beef stock as well. So the purpose of, really, I chose this protein and this sauce is because it's versatile enough where no matter what protein we're cooking, this is how we cook it. We pat it dry, we lightly season it, and then we have my pans are finally coming up to temperature. we are going to do a light coating of oil, just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. You might have to do this. And we will lay our chicken presentation side down and lay it away from you. Presentation side down and away. I would turn it on maybe. Same thing. Usually if we have a skin on something, we're going to lay that side down and lay it away. Now we do not touch it. Don't move it, don't adjust it, don't play with it. We want that chicken to develop a crust and a sear on it. Same thing for if you're cooking a piece of salmon. If we're gonna do a pork chop or a steak, you lay it in the pan and we don't touch it for probably 3 to 4 minutes. Until it starts to cook. And like I said, the skin will get crispy. The one presentation side of the chicken breast will get a little crispy. Now that our cutting board is dirty, I'm gonna flip it. It's the easiest way to not have a contaminated cutting board. I'm gonna quickly wash my hands as well. We cut chicken. So all we've really done so far is cut and season potatoes. We've just lightly seasoned chicken and put them in our pan, and we just have our sauce or our stock reducing. Nothing too difficult so far. When we flip this chicken is when we're going to take our crushed garlic and our thyme, and that's when we use it. So we'll flip our chicken, we'll throw in just some of the crushed garlic just as it is. We'll throw in a few sprigs of thyme. And you can always add a little more chicken stock to the pan as well. And when it goes in the oven, it'll just continue to simmer and stay juicy that way. So it is browned on one side, which is beautiful because we haven't touched it, we haven't moved it. We can flip it. Those aren't quite, when the crust develops, it will self-release from the pan. So if it's sticking to the pan, give it an extra minute, and eventually that crust will form and it'll release itself from the pan. I flip these. Garlic, garlic, garlic. We can throw in a few sprigs of thyme if we want. That'll just help it stay juicy. We're gonna give this a minute. We wanna cook this a little bit on the stovetop still before we put it in the oven. So, same thing. We have color. Herbs. The last of our garlic. So everything can go in the oven now. We can get our potatoes in. Again, mine is oven safe. I'm gonna go right in the oven with it. And then these I'm going to just put on a tray. We can add all of our onion and garlic to the pan. And same thing. We can add a little stock to make sure it stays moist in the oven. And that's our chicken. those will take about 15 minutes to cook. We're gonna let them rest for a few minutes after that when they come out of the oven, which will give us plenty of time for our potatoes to finish as well. So this is, my stock is still very slowly starting to bubble. We want that if it's bubbling and it's boiling, it's reducing, which is great. That's what we want. We can move while everything's cooking. We will make a quick vinaigrette for our arugula salad. I chose a citrus vinaigrette because our sauce will be finished with a lot of butter. It'll be very rich, which is nice because chicken breast is very lean. So the sauce will complement the chicken, but we also want something to cut through a lot of that fat, and acidity is great for that. So we have our arugula ready. We will start with Dijon mustard, brand new Dijon mustard. And we're just gonna do about a tablespoon. We need a fat, you need something like Dijon in there to help the olive oil kind of stick and not just stay separated. We are going to hit it with a pinch of salt and pepper, and then lemon. Wash my knife. We'll use about the juice of a half a lemon. So you can squeeze it through your fingertips. So if there's any seeds, this one actually has none. Feeling bold, stick a spoon in there and just squeeze it all out. I have a small whisk. And then all we're gonna do is just add olive oil to this and whisk while we pour in. We wanna slowly incorporate the oil. And we're probably gonna do about a quarter cup to a half a cup of oil. And we want this slowly so we know if you add too much oil all at once, it'll be much harder to get it to incorporate. So a little bit at a time, and we can just keep streaming it in. And we can adjust to taste. So we can give it a taste. If it's too rich from the Dijon, we can add more oil. If it needs more lemon juice, we can do that. We can add more salt and pepper. This is a very simple base. You can do this instead of lemon, you can use like white wine vinegar, red wine vinegar. There's room to mess around with it. You can add dried herbs to this if you want and make an herb vinaigrette and leave out the lemon juice altogether. It's just a very quick, easy dressing. You can put this in a mason jar and it'll stay good for about a week, and just shake it before you use it. We will do and add a very small amount of this to the arugula. In moderation.
Just from the chat, would you just remind someone was putting stuff in the oven and missed the dressing ingredients?
Oh, so it's very simple. We're just going to do like a teaspoon to a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, about half of lemon squeezed out, and then some salt, pepper, and we're just drizzling in olive oil until you just have a consistency that seems and looks like dressing. So it's just something that can easily drizzle on. We can taste. Mine is a little Dijon-y. We're going to add a little more lemon juice to mine. A little more salt and pepper. And that's it, those simple ingredients. Like I said, you have the option to do and add herbs. You can microplane or grate garlic into this as well. If you wanted garlic in there, you have dried herbs. There's options for everything. But now we have our a very quick dressing. Give this a quick rinse because we'll toss our salad in this when we're ready. So our sauce has come down a lot. That went from about a pint to maybe less than half already. We want this to be thick enough though, so when I run a spoon through it, or at the back of a spatula, it stays almost separated. So we're taking this down by at least another half. We're taking the whole sauce down by about 75% to 80% of what it was. And simply for the arugula salad, just arugula. If you wanted cherry tomatoes, throw cherry tomatoes on there. If you have cherry tomatoes, if you have raw onion, if you have capers, if anything you want to put on your salad, you can, depending on the dish you're making. The whole point of this is your potatoes can be anything they want, your dressing can be modified, your salad ingredients can be modified as well. I'm just going to take and I spoon it on to avoid putting on too much. And then just give it a stir. It coats it relatively quickly. So that was 2 teaspoons, and it pretty much got my whole bowl of arugula done. So as this is continuing to cook down, I'm going to get this on and we're going to make another version. I brought ingredients to do another version of a pan sauce, just to show you how kind of easy it is to take and modify a sauce that we're already going to make. So this is the one I want you guys to make. This is the basic one. This is where the basic technique comes in. And once you learn this, like I said, you can do this with a beef stock base. And if you add a little red wine and let that reduce as well, you'll be making a beef demi-glace, which sounds a lot fancier than it is. Like our chicken stock is getting down. I'm going to heat this pan up on medium. Give it a little bit of oil. And with me I have 3 great ingredients, versatile. I have some shallots that I have just fine diced. We have some garlic that have been diced. I actually dice garlic, put it into ice cube trays and freeze them so they're ready to go. And that's what I have in there. And then lastly, I don't know if we can have this here, but I brought white wine as well. Don't tell the boss. We're cooking with it, we're not drinking it. You at home can do whatever you want though. So, this is the pan I cooked my chicken in. We like making pan sauces in the pan we cook the food in because it's already got a flavor. So if you're making a pan sauce for chicken, when the chicken goes in the oven, use that same pan to make your sauce because it already has flavor in it. Same thing goes if you're making a sauce for a steak or a salmon. We started this sauce separately so we can get it reducing down because that does take some time. We are almost there with that. Depending on how it's looking, like I said, you want that pretty far reduced at home. For our other pan sauce, we just have medium heat, medium-low heat, because we do not want to burn our onions. We just want to soften them a little bit, make them a little bit translucent without really adding too much color to them. I want to keep it relatively low. And we don't have to we're not going to cook those for too long before we do anything else. If your stock is all the way down, mine is, I mean, we are almost nothing in there. You can hold it for now. You can just turn it off on the heat when it gets to that point, and we can finish it when our chicken comes out of the oven. So we have some shallots in there. After the shallots go in, we can throw in some garlic, just minced. Garlic doesn't take long to cook. We don't want to burn it. We just want to, once it gets kind of fragrant, it's done. About 30 seconds tops. So we have some shallots, garlic, and then this is where the fun comes in. White wine. They call this deglazing the pan. When you add a liquid to the pan that has had protein in it already, it'll help get all the bits that have been stuck to the pan up and out. They call it deglazing. It gets everything, all those good bits from the protein into the sauce now. And same thing, we want to reduce and concentrate that flavor. This wine, the alcohol will cook off, so it is safe for children. But we want to also reduce that down, and we will be concentrating that flavor. Like I said, I have unsalted butter and unsalted stock, so we can give a pinch of salt to both as we just wait for things in the oven to cook. This, if we wanted, we can do whatever we want. We can add more thyme. If you have rosemary, use rosemary. This works with tarragon. It works with other herbs as well. I will say, if herbs on a stick or a stem, you can add in early. Leafy herbs such as parsley, cilantro, tarragon are things you want to add to the end. We don't really want to cook them too much. And now we kind of wait. So once our white wine is cooked down a bit, and we've gotten that flavor, we're going to do the same thing as we did with our first pan. We're going to add some stock. We can crank the heat up a little bit. And again, cook that down and concentrate flavor. That is our parsley. Any questions? Comments? Concerns? Out there in TV land?
I don't have a question, but it smells delicious.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I want to know why there's only 4 plates and not
I didn't
5.
know you were going to be here. I also don't have to eat. I've eaten this before.
Sue will
So-
share with me.
I will.
So this is
I'll share with you.
this is, like I said, one of my go-to weeknight meals when cooking for this one. It's easy. When you get the practice down, you can cook. I do everything in almost one pan. I have the potatoes on a sheet pan, and then I will cook the chicken, and then when you get the process and you know what you're looking for, I will pull the chicken out of the oven when it's cooked. We want to cook the chicken to an internal temperature of 160 degrees. Chicken's safe at 165. But when you pull out of the oven, there's still a bunch of heat, the temperature will still rise. So we'll get it to 160 and it'll carry over because we want it to rest. But while the chicken's resting, usually I can take it out of the pan and I'll make the sauce in that pan. So when you get the hang of it a little bit and the gist of it, and you know timelines for everything, it becomes less of an ordeal and more of just, you got a tray for the potatoes and you got one pan for the chicken and then you're done.
Someone is asking if the parsley now or at the end?
At the
Repeat the
end.
question.
Oh, somebody asked, parsley now or at the end? Parsley will get added at the very end. We don't really want to cook it. So when our stock has been reduced down and it's kind of syrupy, mine's kind of at that point. It's almost 80% evaporated. When the chicken comes out, we're going to turn the heat back on there and we're going to throw in some cold butter. We're going to break up some butter, throw it cold and whisk it in. And it'll help emulsify that, and you'll get that rich, creamy, glossy-like sauce. And when the sauce is basically done, we'll cut the heat and then add the parsley. And we're going to stir in parsley at the very end. And that goes for our other pan sauce. We have the onions, the garlic, we did the white wine. We're reducing down that stock and getting to that syrup. And if you have any leafy things you want to add at the end, whether it's parsley, cilantro, tarragon, depending what you're making. Very leafy things always at the very end. So we don't overcook it, it'll turn bitter and wilty. Not great. That was a good question. I have a handy dandy meat thermometer. I like to temp it just to make sure. The chicken breasts are kind of thick. It's always tough to gauge. This works with chicken thighs. You can do this same, the sauce isn't reliant on what kind of meat you have. So if you have thin chicken cutlets, you can just pan fry them and do the same thing. This works great with a pork chop, another white lean meat. You're gonna cook it in the same way and basically go through the same process, which is why, like I said, I chose this. This is how we traditionally cook most proteins. You have your hot pan, you have your oil in there once it's hot, and you lay down. Finish it in the oven if it's thick, and then you can start working on your sauce. I'm gonna temp these quick. It's fuego. We're getting there. So my chicken temped at just like 155. Like I said, I want to pull it out at like 160, so it's getting there. It's close. I'm a big fan of cleaning while you go, when you have a second, getting everything out of your way, having a nice open workspace. What we still need to do. So that is almost down as well. So same thing, I added probably a half a cup of wine and about a cup of stock, and we are to the point where we're barely coating, or just a little more than coating, the bottom of the pan. So those flavors are definitely concentrated, and we're pretty much good to go.
What type of pans are best to use?
Oh, pans. So what type of pans are best to use? I use stainless steel for everything that isn't pretty much eggs. Stainless steel are great conductors of heat. They can go in an oven. They're safe up to temperatures of about 500. It is an acquired skill to cook on them, though. It is a difficult thing to cook on. The biggest thing and learning curve for stainless steel is getting your pan hot enough so food doesn't stick. So when your stainless steel is hot enough, and I drop water in there, it's the easiest way to test it. The water beads up. That's called the light and frost effect, where it actually becomes non-stick. If you throw water in the pan and it just sizzles and dissipates, your pan is not hot enough. Problem with non-sticks, when I cook on non-sticks now, it's tougher for me to tell when the pan's actually hot enough. But you cook with what you have. Before I got stainless steel, I was cooking on non-sticks. I had a variety of different pans. There's ones now, Hexclad was a big company. It was like a non-stick kind of stainless, which was interesting. It was like a hybrid pan. Costco sells a version of that as well called Henkel's now. There's a lot. I mean, the basic technique of hot pan, medium hot pan, and then food is pretty much what's going to be a bigger deal than what kind of pan you're using. I know she doesn't like using my stainless. She sticks to a lot of non-stick pans as well. So we are...
Stainless are scary if you don't know how to use them.
Very down. I think we're good to start taking stuff out of our oven. My potatoes look like they need a little bit of time, so I'm going to leave them in there while we let our chicken rest. We let meats rest because juices redistribute as it cools slightly. Those are still very hot. If you ever cooked a steak on a grill, I think it's sliced right into it. There's a pool of blood and juice that comes out, where if you let that rest for 6, 7, 8 minutes, it will redistribute that and you won't lose as much. It'll keep your juice inside the protein a lot longer, especially for red meat. But chicken is also important, especially when it's thicker. If it was a thinner chicken breast or you're doing with chicken thighs, just get them in there, it's fine. Chicken thighs can take the most abuse of anything. It's amazing. They're very tough to overcook. They will stay much juicier. So we have, this is just from our pan. You can tell our garlic's been roasted. If we really wanted to, and I'm working with a different time constraint, I would use this sauce to make this sauce. So while this rests normally, and I wanted to give you guys enough time to follow along and keep up, but I would take the chicken out of the pan and then put the pan right on the stove, and that's if I wanted to add the onions and the garlic, I would add it then, right? And I would just make the sauce in that pan. But that's a lot of commotion for when one thing comes out of the oven for people at home to just follow along. So we did it separately, but when you get the hang of it and get that technique down, you just do it all at once. Then you're almost doing the whole meal in a pan.
How do you know when you looked at the potatoes and said they're not ready yet? How would someone know?
They should be fork tender. Oh, somebody asked, how do we know when the potatoes are done? They should be fork tender. I poked them with my meat thermometer. They just feel them. It's really just like when you're boiling potatoes, big mashed potatoes, they should just break apart easy enough. Kind of, the potato's hard, it's probably not cooked all the way through.
I missed the beginning, but how do you pick your olive oil?
That's a good, how do we pick our olive oil? I don't know. That is a tough, and there are so many, an overwhelmingly large amount. I would say find one that you think is half decent, and just, it's tough because there's a lot and they're all very expensive. Olive oil is, and so it's finding a brand and using it and tasting it. I personally use olive oil more, really not so much for cooking, for finishing, for salad dressings. I like that richness you can drizzle over something. I typically don't really cook or saute with it because it goes, so that's canola oil in there. So yeah, canola also has, so you missed this, canola has a higher smoking point, so it can take a lot more heat. Avocado oil is great for that if you're sauteing. The big one that people used to do for fryers was peanuts. Peanut oil it's an amazing flavor and it's got a great smoking temperature. It's just so many people are allergic to it, which is a problem. So that's why they went to a lot of restaurants now will use canola or soybean oil or a combination of the two. It's great for it. It's much more affordable, especially if you're just sauteing some things like olive oil. It's expensive to go through. So this is probably the most technically difficult part of our evening. We're going to finish our sauces, and we are going to do that with butter. So we want heat. That is reduced a lot. I'm going to add a splash because we're looking a little low. If your sauce separates while you do this, you can add a splash of stock and it'll bring it back together. So if it looks like it's the fats have separated. But all we really do is we're going to take small knobs of butter, about a half a teaspoon at a time, and we're going to add a bunch of them in. For each of these, I'm going to use about a half a stick of butter. And as we add it in, we're going to do some stirring. So if you use, and we're going to make, this is going to make it a very rich butter sauce. So I have unsalted butter, so I might have to add salt. If your butter is salted and you bought, which is fine, regular chicken stock, which is salted, don't add butter, or don't add salt. We'll be plenty. And this has become that heat up. These are very rich sauces. You can see. We want to move it, constantly stirring, incorporating it. This was a little cold. It's starting to bubble. It's getting back up to temperature. But you can see we have a very, it stays separated. You can split it, and that's where we kind of want our sauce. And I'm going to do the same for this one. We have it bubbling. I just move it and stir it. This one with my onions and garlic will be good. This one I'm just giving a little more heat to just reduce it down slightly. And it's a rich brown color. It's beautiful. We can taste. That is very chickeny. We're good to go. Now we are ready for plating. I'm going to take our chicken. Napkins, tongs, towels, everything is hot, everything is sharp. So we've had our chicken has had time to rest. I like taking the small end, putting it away from me. And we're going to cut this and just slice this on an angle. Hold your knife firmly and just slice on. We'll go down on a nice angle, making sure we're cutting all the way through. Hitting the cutting board. And we have, I'll take a piece, cooked, perfectly cooked, juicy chicken in the middle. And we missed it. Cooked through. That was pulled at, like I said, 160. So while it was resting, it went to the safe temperature of 165. breakable. Once your potatoes are fork tender. Yeah. So for the chicken, because it's on an angle, I like to just separate it and fan it out a little bit. Angle it, I do it along somewhat with the curvature of the plate. So I think that's nice. We're gonna do the other one. So this was our boneless, skinless. We cooked it at 400 because it helps keep it crispy. It'll cook it relatively quickly. The potatoes going at 400, so it's a very easy kind of meal to do. If you have mashed potatoes, it works with mashed potatoes. If you have rice, use rice. This is not supposed to be relatively straightforward. So with the bone-in airline, so we have our crispy skin on top. We still have that drumette attached, and then just the chicken breast. So cut it the same way. I put the tip away, and then just slicing it on the bias, keeping that skin. And I'll go kind of close to the bone. And then presentation is the same way. We will just separate it, fan it out, have it look nice.
So are you cutting it on an angle because for presentation, or is there another reason?
Just presentation. So actually, if we were cutting on an angle for presentation or anything else, just presentation. So if you cut it straight up, it doesn't kind of shingle and fall as nicely. So we want that. We have our hot potatoes. We're just going to put some in the middle of the plate, and we're going to throw our salad behind it. We kind of want the potatoes a little close to the chicken, because if they get sauce on it, it's going to be also delicious. Now we herbed the potatoes because you were making, we were going through and just doing a very simple, basic pan sauce. Right, so now we have herbs and garlic and onion powder on our potatoes, even though this way you get a real taste of what the pan sauce tastes like. We have our salad. We'll put that in the back. Nice, neat. And lastly, we will go with sauces. I like the presentation of, if there's herbs in there, laying them on top. It helps with the look, the appeal. It lets people know you've used fresh herbs. And that's what, that was a cup of wine, that was about a cup of stock, that was about a half a stick of butter, and we reduced it down. So that is a jam-packed, flavorful sauce. And we're just going to drizzle this on top. So this is the one that had the onions, the shallots, the garlic, and then here is more of our straightforward. So to make this sauce, to reiterate, all we did was we put the box of stock into a pan, and then we waited while it cooked down. When it got kind of syrupy, we just added like a third of a stick to a half a stick of butter to it, and that's it. I know when I was setting this up with Sue, she goes, "Oh, pan sauces." She goes, "I don't do that. They're scary." I'm like, they're not though. It's if you break it down by that step, we really haven't done much. And then same thing. We're just going to drizzle this on top. And there we have it. So we did a pan roasted chicken breast, herb potatoes with an arugula salad with a citrus vinaigrette. Like I said, you can modify the potatoes. If you wanted to put Parmesan on those or fresh parsley. Oh, I forgot the parsley in the sauce, kids. It's always one
There's
thing.
always one ingredient.
We missed it.
Rewind, redo.
That's it. So literally, you could have just put the parsley in the sauce before you put it on there, right? When I was showing the sauce to the camera, you could literally just put it in there, stir it in, because you really don't want to cook the parsley, but it adds a layer of freshness to it. That's really nice. And there we have it now.
Done.
Beautiful.
I'm just curious if Canines has anybody to help us clean up.
That's me. That's me.
Wow.
All right, well, I have forks and knives.
Beautiful.
All my guinea pigs can come have a
Peace.
taste.
Oh, I'll
hold
take
the-
a taste.
I'll hold the mic.
Who's taking a taste with me? Is it
Denise,
only
get in
me?
No, get in there. Get in there, kids.
We got more. And while we're tasting, I just want to say thank you for volunteering your time, Chef Ross.
You are welcome.
And thank you all volunteers once again for joining us. Cook this at home. Try out the different pan sauces. I know I'm a little scared still, but I'm going to do it. Watch the recording, and you can stop it and do it along the way. And now I have to taste this. I don't know what to taste.
The potatoes are really good.
Yeah.
I have two
Yep.
forks.
I have-
John is eating, and I may demolish all of this before we're done. Thank you so much. We have some more surprises coming for Volunteer Appreciation Month, so be on the lookout on Volunteer Hub, all of you that are in the Northeast. And if it's open to the region, we'll be sending out invites. Thank you for everything you do. We could not do this without you. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Delicious Chef
I enjoy it.
Ross with Feeding Friends by Ross. There you
Get
go.
the name in
Look
there,
it up.
yeah.
Check it out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really do.
What's the Instagram and Facebook?
Oh, so mine is Feeding Friends by Ross, and then I think my Instagram is still just like _ Feeding Friends. Yeah, find me if you're local to the area. I do primarily just private dinners. In-home private dinners is now what I practice. I've been in commercial settings before, working in restaurants, running restaurant kitchens, and doing menus and all that stuff. Now I just do in-home dinners.
Explain that. Tell us what that's like.
So in-home dinners, basically, I meet with people. I've done birthday parties. I actually have a bachelorette party upcoming. They're renting an Airbnb, and they want a chef to come in for the night. So I do intimate groups up to like 12, 14 people. I work out usually like a 4-course menu with them, and then we set up a price. I tell people, shrimp is more expensive than chicken. We work it out. We work out a menu together. And then I will almost basically do what I did here, but instead of you guys kind of participating, you'll be enjoying your party, and then I'll make 4 courses in your home.
I got to tell you, word on the street from Jess Reese, one of our Canine Companions
Yeah.
people,
Manager.
right?
I did a brunch. I did a 4-course or 5-course brunch for them or something. Yeah.
Girls brunch.
Girls
also.
brunch. Yeah. I love brunch. That'll be the next one. We'll do some eggs Benedict
You're hearing
or something.
it first
Yeah.
right now, right? Chef Ross wants to come back and cook for Canine
Yes.
Companions, a little bit of brunch.
I'll do this
I'm
plenty of
telling you,
times.
I want to try a little salad.
We lost
Not gonna be pretty
my
on camera,
girlfriend
but
too.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
Chicken is delicious.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I love making this.
Perfect.
I love making this for people, especially if you go to a butcher and you can get the airline chicken breast. It's nice because it's recognizable as chicken, but it's something a little bit different. Not a lot of people have eaten chicken breast with the skin on. It elevates it slightly, and doing a really nice roasted chicken is a thing of beauty. A lot of times people don't necessarily do it properly, or it's familiar, but it's elevated a little bit, which I like. The pan sauce really takes it to the next level. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're just going to
This
town
is just
now.
really good. So it's dinner, and oh my God.
Poor John behind the camera's got to watch us eat.
Yeah,
No.
Hurry up, hurry up. All right. I think we're wrapping it up. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.